we're diving deep into drone warfare today, sabotage,
Yeah.
and kind of blurring the lines between physical security and all the digital stuff going on. And you might be thinking, like, wait, what does this have to do with me? Well, stick around, because this story we're looking at today really highlights how vulnerable, like everything is these days. It touches all of us, even if you've never even flown a drone.
Yeah, it's really interesting how conflict is changing. I mean, it's not just about boots on the ground anymore. This whole incident we're talking about shows how, technology and all these global supply chains, they can become battlefields themselves.
Totally. So our main source for this deep dive is an article from Tom's Hardware. They're a pretty well-respected tech site, and they broke down this whole incident where someone tried to send explosive-laden FTV goggles to Russian drone operators out there on the front lines in Ukraine.
Oh yeah, those FPV goggles are like the eyes of the drone operator. They get a live video feed right from the drone's perspective, which lets them control it in real time. Just imagine piloting a drone through some crazy urban environment. You'd be totally reliant on those goggles for every single move.
Wow. So yeah, these goggles are like mission critical. The article said these things were rigged with like 10 to 15 grams of plastic explosives, and they're supposed to detonate when they turned them on. It's a pretty chilling thought. But what I find even more disturbing is they put the explosives near the temple, which would make it, potentially lethal.
It's a tactic that's becoming more common in warfare these days, what they call hybrid warfare. It's mixing, traditional military tactics with cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and now apparently weaponized consumer electronics.
Man, that's crazy. But hold on. If this plan was so sophisticated, how come it didn't work?
Well, even the best laid plans can go wrong. Just simple mistakes. The packages were sent through SDEK. It's a Russian parcel service. Whoever was behind this messed up the repackaging. The tampered packaging tipped off the Russian military. They found the explosives before they got to the drone operators.
So a lucky break.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, though. Who was behind this? Was it like a state-sponsored attack? A rogue group? Or something else completely?
Tom's Hardware said that Russian authorities are investigating, but no answers yet. It's interesting to compare this to what happened last year. When Israel booby-trapped pagers and radios, Hezbollah was using them.
Right, I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
But those devices used remotely detonated explosives, right?
Yeah.
It seemed way more sophisticated.
Exactly. There was zero sign of tampering in the Israeli operation, which means whoever did it had a lot of expertise and resources. This difference makes you wonder who had the motive and the skills to pull off this attack against the Russian drone operators, and what does their level of sophistication tell us?
It's like a puzzle missing a few pieces, and the stakes are super high. Man, it's kind of scary to think someone could be out there messing with everyday tech, turning it into a weapon. It makes you think, like, what other vulnerabilities are we missing?
This vulnerability goes way beyond the battlefield, Think about what this means for, all the gadgets we use. Our world depends on all this interconnected stuff. And the article even had this one line that freaked me out. It said, shows how a bad actor or adversary could tamper with devices to compromise security. Even something as small and innocuous as a charging cable could host some hidden, sinister electronics.
Okay, now I'm officially paranoid about my phone charger. But back to these goggles for a sec. What makes them such a good target for sabotage?
Well, in drone warfare, those FPV goggles are like the operator's lifeline. They give them that visual link to the drone so they can control it and fly it around, If you mess with those goggles, it's basically like blinding the operator. They can't do their missions anymore.
So it's not just about hurting people. It's about shutting down the whole drone operation.
Exactly. And then there's the psychological impact, too. Can you imagine being a soldier out there, knowing that the equipment you need to stay alive could be used against you? That's going to create a ton of fear and distrust.
Couldn't they just, increase security around these devices? Like more checks, tighter supply chains?
Oh, they definitely should. But global supply chains are so complex. These parts go through so many hands, crossing borders all the time. It's super hard to track and secure every single step.
So it's kind of like you fix one problem and another one pops up somewhere else. But beyond just increasing security, what can we do about this whole hybrid warfare thing?
It's going to take a lot of different approaches. On the military side, they're developing new tech to detect tampering, like sensors that can tell if the weight or composition of a device has changed even a tiny bit. They're also trying to make supply chains more resilient, maybe even moving manufacturing to safer places.
That makes sense. But what about regular people? Most of us don't fly drones.
Yeah.
What can we do to protect ourselves?
I think the biggest thing is just to be aware. Yeah, like be careful where you buy your electronics.
Okay.
Try to stick with reputable sources. And pay attention to the packaging
Got it.
if something looks tampered with.
Don't buy it.
Exactly. And just to be a little skeptical in general.
So, like,
I
don't just trust that cheap phone charger from the corner store.
Exactly. And on top of that, everyone needs to learn about cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity.
Yeah, keep your software updated, use strong passwords, don't click on sketchy links.
Sounds like a never-ending battle.
It kind of is. As technology gets better, so do the ways to exploit it.
This whole hybrid warfare thing is kind of mind-blowing. It's scary how connected everything is and how someone could use that against us.
It really shows how conflict is changing. It's not just about traditional battlefields anymore. It's happening online in our supply chains, even in the devices we use every single day. These explosive goggles are just one example.
So where do we go from here? Is it all bad news? Or is there hope?
I wouldn't say it's all bad. Just being aware of the problem is huge. The more we understand these threats, the better we can protect ourselves. This incident definitely shows we need to be more careful, both as individuals and as a society.
But is being careful enough? Technology changes so fast. How can we keep up with all the new attacks?
It's a good question. It's going to take everyone working together. Governments and businesses need to team up to make supply chains more secure, invest in new ways to fight back, and maybe even create some global standards for device security.
That's a lot to do. Do you see any areas where we could make the most progress?
Definitely. Developing better detection technology would be huge. Imagine sensors in our devices that could detect any tampering, or AI that could analyze patterns and spot suspicious activity in supply chains.
So basically, fighting fire with fire, using technology to stop bad uses of technology.
Exactly. We need to use our tech skills to create a safer digital world. It's not just about protecting ourselves from physical harm either. It's about protecting our privacy, our data, our whole digital identity.
The stakes are pretty high then. But it sounds like it's not impossible.
Nope. We just need individuals, businesses, and governments to work together. By understanding the threats, changing how we do things, and coming up with innovative solutions, we can handle these challenges and reduce the risks.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes. I didn't realize how easy it is to exploit our connected world. Even harmless devices can be dangerous, and the impact can be huge. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
Remember to stay informed, stay vigilant, and don't forget how important security is in our digital world. Every click, every purchase, every device we connect could put us at risk. But if we're aware and we take action, we can make smart choices and stay safe.
Well said. This has been a really eye-opening look at drone warfare, sabotage, and all the new security threats we're facing. I think we can all agree this is something we need to pay attention to. Thanks for listening, everyone, and until next time, stay safe and stay informed.